In this lesson, we are going to do just a quick introduction to matrices. We're not going to do adding or subtracting or anything like that. We are just going to talk about naming them really quick. And then we are going to talk about what an augmented matrix is, because that's something that we're going to be typing into the calculator to help us with our systems of equations. So, a matrix is a rectangular array of numbers. So here's an example of it. So these are called elements or entries. And we name a matrix by its order. And order is your number of rows by columns. So rows are the horizontal aspect of it, and columns are the vertical. So this matrix would be 2 rows by 2 columns. So we name that as a 2 by 2 matrix. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4 rows by 1, 2, 3 columns. So we name it as a 4 by 3. And then this is 2 rows by 3 columns. All right, so we're going to need that information because when we do go to the calculator and we try to type these things in, we have to know how to name them in order to let the calculator set it up so we can enter in our values. So an augmented matrix is how you take a linear equation or a system of linear equations and we write it as a matrix. So you have a 4, 3, 11, so it turns into 4, 3, 11, and then a negative 5, 2, 15. So this column would represent the x column, this column would represent the y column, and this kind of represents what it equals. So we draw a line, the calculator's not going to do this, but we draw a line here that kind of separates out your variables from what it equals. All right, so this matrix would actually be a 2 rows, a 2 by 3 matrix. Okay, so that is kind of the idea of we're going to take this and write it as an augmented matrix. Well, right now it's not in the right form, so we need to adjust this piece over. All right, so then that's going to turn into x minus 3y, because we'll have to subtract the 3y over, equals a 1. So for our augmented matrix, it's going to be 1, negative 3, 1. And this is going to be a negative 2, 6, 5. And then we just kind of separate out our variables from what it equals. And then if we did a bigger one, we have everything looks lined up. All the x's are in this column, all the y's are in this column, all the z's are in this column, and all the answers are here, or what it equals. So you have a 2, 1, negative 3, 1. You have a 1, negative 4, 1, 6, 4, negative 7, negative 1, 13. And there's your augmented matrix. And then, just to make sure you're okay, we can go backwards with it. So if you have an augmented matrix, that means that these, again, are your x column and your y column. So this is going to be a 3x minus 2y equaling 3. And this is going to be a negative 4x plus y, because it's a 1, equals negative 1. So there's your equations. And then if you have a bigger one, we're looking at a 2x plus y minus 4z equals 12, 3x, there is no y, so plus 5z equals negative 1. If you want to put a 0y here, you can, but I would skip it. And then you have a 1x, so x minus x plus z equals 2. Okay, so in our next video, we're going to be taking this information, plugging it into the calculator. We'll show you how to do that, and then we're going to solve our system of equations using a calculator.